All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Revo Racing Network for Race 7 of the Coastal Financial Truck Series. Tonight we are at Atlanta Motor Speedway for 125 laps, and I have with me Caleb Gilbert. Caleb, what are you expecting to see tonight?
I'm expecting a racer's racetrack here. We're probably looking at some longer runs, a lot of tire wear here. It's going to be a good one. A mixed strategy most likely to be involved. Track's looking somewhat hot. It's kind of a even medium to where you're not going to see too crazy attempts, cars sliding around, but they will be sliding a little bit.
And a little bit different for us tonight, having you here in the booth with us instead of on the racetrack. Gonna give us a little bit of insight here on how these trucks drive at these 1.5 mile tracks now that they have this new update.
So here at Atlanta, at least, it is a little different than the rest of the 1.5 miles. We're on the old surface before the repave to be a plate race. They have the option to go all out if they want to for about 8 to 10 laps. It is going to plow once they do so, might get loose off a corner exit. If they're saving, which I imagine a lot of these guys that are well prepared are going to know to do, there is a thing where you can underdrive the car. You're going to get real loose if you mistime your throttle inputs on corner exit, and that is in turns 2 and 4. So seeing these guys manage back and forth the balance of the truck is going to be very interesting.
Thank you, Caleb. And that's what we're looking forward to seeing tonight. This should be a pretty interesting race where the drivers have a lot of options and kind of how they can attack this track, what they're going to do with their tires. And after a couple of rough weeks with some cautions, I think that we're setting ourselves up for what should be a pretty good race here tonight. As we see the cars, or rather the trucks, as I get in trouble for saying, are going ahead and gridding here. Let's get our grid pulled up, actually, and see where we have guys tonight. Starting on pole position is Jack Clemens. Then you have Clint Cox starting to his outside. Trevor Keith starting third. Alex Forget Berube starting fourth. Chris Stamper starting fifth. Grant Thorpe sixth. Dylan Picklesheimer seventh. Michael Reed eighth. Tyler Harrison ninth. And Al Likens in the 10th position.
Going through the rest of the field, we got Frank Hughes here in 11th. Jackson McGeorge in 12th. Dominic Hughes in 13th. Jake Williams in 14th. Nick Alves and Matthew Robinson 15th and 16th. Justice Murphy in the 12th truck in 17th. Chris Nail in 18th. Going up to Parker Johnston starting in P19. Chris Schaefer will round out your top 20.
We have Grant Turner starting 21st, Joseph Gendron in 22nd, Waylon Turner 23rd, Kevin Orlando 24th, Justin Hughes 25th, Christopher Lowry 26th, Devin Hudgens 27th, Eddie Donahue 28th, Joe Goya in 29th, Travis Gilbert 30th, 31st is Kyle Diaz, and rounding out the field tonight is Dustin Adams in 32nd position. And
Interesting to see Travis and Kyle not putting down a time there. I know both of those guys are really strong at these mile and a half. It's going to be fun to see them work through the field.
absolutely. And I know we had Clemens there on our graphic here, but I'm actually looking at this beautiful number 15 here of Trevor Keith on the pole. Not sure what's going on with the qualifying lineup there, but we apologize for getting that wrong. But it is nice to see that KSX Racing Graphics vehicle starting on the pole, considering that KSX Racing Graphics is sponsoring tonight's race. All right, the pace car will be pulling off shortly, and we will see the green flag. Trevor Keith leads the field into the Geico restart zone, waiting for the flagman to throw the green flag. Green flag is out, and the trucks are headed down to turn 1, tightly packed on both lines, to see if we can sort things out down here in 1 and 2.
Well connected, they go into 1 and 2. Going to be interesting to see how hard these guys are pushing early. Who's going to take it easy? Who's going to be pushing, planning for the long run?
And speaking of pushing, here comes Clint Cox immediately looking to the outsides. We have 3 wide in the second row here. Dill Picklesheimer looking to the bottom, 3 wide under Chris Stamper and Alex Forget. So far, so good. We've got 1 in the wall in the back. Looks like Chris Nail, huge wreck back there.
Down. Oh, it looks like it might be Jin John involved. I believe that is Chris Nail that had the original contact up into the fence, and that is unfortunate for the 86 truck.
And no fast repairs here tonight. That will be the end of Chris Nail's evening. Unfortunately, early on here, lap 1. Let's see if we can get something pulled up here. See what caused this. You see Chris Nail's already up in the fence. Man, Starling truck about took flight there.
Very close to taking off. Somebody else comes in last second, hits the wall. Maybe a little bit of panic out of that truck. I hate that for Joseph. There is nothing he can do in that situation.
No, there's just absolutely nowhere to go. And you have Chris Nail coming down the racetrack and no time really to react. Just a tough situation all the way around here. Let's see if we can see on board here with Chris Nail, see kind of how we got into this situation. Caleb, walk us through what's going on in the truck here.
Looks like he's building tight, saving, got in the throttle too soon. Unless he got some help on the back end, I don't think he did. Looks like what I was talking about in our lead there. You can back up your corners, but if you back them up and you mistime the throttle and get into it a little too strong, you will get loose, especially up there in the high lane.
A tough start to the night for those two. They will be out early. However, the rest of the field, nice little little time to take your breath here. You got 1 restart under you. You got to drive around some trucks here. Maybe make a little mental adjustment for how you plan to take this second restart.
Yeah, it gives everybody a quick introduction to how this race is going to go. We saw there on that first lap a lot of guys. Some looked like they were taking it a little bit easier than others. We saw Pickles make a very aggressive move down 3 wide. It worked out there, but farther back in the field, not as fortunate.
Yeah, and I like the aggressive early move there out of Pickles. You know, one of those races where you're going to want to avoid abusing your tires, but if you can take a 3 wide move and get 2 guys in 1 corner early on in the run, it kind of sets you up to better dictate your own pace as you continue forward in the race, I think.
Absolutely, especially here in Atlanta. When you get a bunch of guys that have a plan together, you'll see everybody kind of follows the leader, saving their stuff. Nobody wants to burn it off. So if you can do that in the first couple of laps, you can leapfrog a couple spots, fall in line, everybody gets spaced out a little bit. It can be a very advantageous move.
We see the 03 of Clint Cox blinking a little bit here. Not ideal. Hopefully that can get cleaned up for him, as I believe we are at our choose cone here. 1 to green. We see 3 of the top 4 take the outside, and now guys trying to equalize by hanging a left here. Our choose box for tonight's race is that black box that you see right directly in the center of the screen. The lowest black box, the one next to the apron line here. Looks like everybody navigates this one pretty cleanly.
Yeah, nobody wants to take that early risk of hitting the box. Great job getting through there by everybody.
this is one of the easier boxes that we'll come across this season as well, I think, Caleb. Just lots of room to the inside there, lots of visibility because you have that dog leg. You can kind of see what everybody's doing. It doesn't leave you to a last-second decision. So hopefully we'll see that continue. But Clint Cox chose the outside. He will be the control car. He will have Trevor Keith directly behind him. Do you anticipate guys having any issues here starting from the front row but not being the control car? Is that something you anticipate seeing tonight, Caleb?
I can see it to a certain extent. You might lose one spot that I might see TK, Trevor Keith here, take that spot from him if he gets a bad launch, but he'll make it back by the middle of the corner.
And it is a good launch from Clint Cox here on the outside. He is clear of Alex Forget Berube, but Berube gets himself a pretty decent start as they head into turn 1.
Very well done there by Berube. He's going to close the gap a little bit here, hold his momentum. TK looks like he's struggling a little bit here. Might be cautious trying to get through this. But he looks to be a little bit cautious right now compared to the rest of the field.
He does seem to be a little bit cautious, but we immediately see the same three guys, 3 wide again. Dill Picklesheimer on the inside, Chris Stamper in the middle, and Trevor Keith, affectionately referred to as TK here in the broadcast booth, ripping the top here. They get it settled and for the moment now 2 wide as they work through turns 1 and 2.
I like what I'm seeing out of TK here, settling in. Running that high line, though, it's a dangerous game to be played. He's going to make a move to the inside here. Looks like he's getting it going.
Trevor Keith dives to the inside here. We'll see if he can hold on to his momentum as the 5 of Chris Stamper should have the momentum on corner exit. It looks like he's able to hold with him pretty decently, but Chris Stamper does clear as they head into turn 1 now, single file for the first 5 positions.
So far, I'm a bit surprised. I'm not seeing a whole lot of movement off the corner exit. I would expect a little bit of more out of it. Might be guys taking it a little more cautious than the rest of the field. And there goes one back in the pack there. Gonna get loose, gonna save it. Great job.
That was a great save. That was the 30 of Waylon Turner. You could see the right front of that truck pick up in the air when he hung the right back to the racetrack. Pretty impressive to see him hold on to that one. Good job, Waylon.
Some 2 wide action here. Dylan Picklesheimer early has been in the mix. He's dropped a couple spots on this restart, but he looks like he's wrapping that bottom, maybe saving a little bit here, getting in the groove.
As we see everybody working their way to getting completely single filed out here within the top 10. As I say that, not to be a surprise, Al Likens is ripping the fence and seeing if he can get something going. And now we have a race for the lead as Alex Berube has run down our leader, Clint Cox, as they head into turn 1. Looking to the outside, nothing going at the moment.
He's going to try to build a run here. Very easy to do off of turn 2. Clint Cox kind of throwing it out there. Berube going to close the gap as we got another move back there a little bit farther in the pack. Chris Stamper probably likes the view he's in. About 0.8 of a second back. Can watch these guys duke it out and save his stuff here.
We go on board with Clint Cox, looking off the rear of that truck at the second place truck of Alex Forget Berube. As you say, he keeps trying to build this run on the top. Looks like Clint has moved up the track maybe a little bit, or maybe Alex just doesn't quite like what he's feeling up there, decides to run the bottom there in 1 and 2, as you see both of them pretty loose on corner exit.
Yeah, heard right there, not a lot of time off the throttle. It's going to be interesting to see in about 5 to 6 laps. These trucks might fall off a little bit, how much they're able to save here. And as you can see right there on corner exit, Berube might get a little bit tighter than Clint Cox. That's going to happen when you're running pretty hard here.
Looks like we already have some lap traffic actually shortly ahead of these guys. Not sure if there was perhaps a bit of a mix-up on that restart there or what. You wouldn't normally expect guys to be catching lap traffic already, but back here for the fourth position, Trevor Keith and Michael Reed are currently side by side, and we have a bit of a mix-up behind them here.
Yeah, they're trying to get it sorted up, starting to stack these guys up behind them. Michael Reed's a guy that is very good at these types of tracks in the long run. He's typically got a very good idea of what he wants to do. Typically a guy that's super clean, wraps the bottom, gets some momentum going. I'm looking for him to drive forward here.
Yeah, and he is up 4 spots so far in our short little 13 laps that we've run so far. Looks like Trevor Keith is happy to stay behind him here this time, as we do have a caution out. Like we have a wreck down the back straightaway here. Devin Hudgens is involved.
Yep, looks like he got the worst of it there. We saw the 70 truck swinging it low. We'll have to see if that was a multi-car incident or if we just had one guy get turned around and fence it.
Pull up our race replay here, see what's going on. Working through turns 1 and 2 here. You see Devin here in that black and gold 84 truck. Corner exit, not clear, it looks like, and then just difficulty getting the truck gathered back up with the way the suspension travels, it looks like, Caleb.
That is a dangerous spot of this racetrack. That probably will not be the last time we see a similar incident. A lot of guys take that momentum on the bottom, throttle up, try to clear themselves high, and there is a ton of momentum coming from that high line. So we will probably see that before, and that is a ill-timed caution for a lot of these guys with their tire situation.
And I wanted to speak about that tire situation, Caleb. So we do have 5 sets of tires for the race tonight. That means they can only change tires 4 times. I know you and I are teammates on Wednesdays. A lot of times you are the guy who's making the tire calls for the team. What are your thoughts here on this race? 125 laps, 5 sets of tires with the stage at lap 30. I think ideally you want to hold on to your tires and not take any until the stage, but what do you think?
This is one of those rare tracks where I would be in favor of holding on to the extra set. We don't know how often the caution flag is going to fall after that stage. Once they get spread out, they'll get spread out. But if you have a bunch of instances, like this, where you get a caution every 15 laps, you don't have the tire sets to change them every 15. So changing them here, it's a stage winning move if you're the first car off the pit road, or it should be in theory. But it is a risky move, especially because you have to take another set at the stage.
Yeah, good insight there for sure. As it looks like most of the field stayed out there. We had a few come down. I think for the most part anyway, these were guys who were coming down looking to either top off fuel if you're all the way in the back, or perhaps repair some damage if you were involved, some contact earlier on in the race. But we drive by here completing lap 15, halfway officially through our stage now. Clint Cox continues to be your leader. Alex Forget Berube in second. Chris Stamper in third. Michael Reed fourth. And Trevor Keith is currently in the 5th position. Looking down through our leaderboard here, looks like Dustin Adams is our biggest mover of the race so far, up 13 positions. He started, I think, all the way in dead last, 32nd. Shotgun on the field. He's currently running in the 19th position, so a nice turnaround here for Dustin Adams early in this race.
Absolutely. If you're in the back of the pack, take care of your stuff. Avoid any mishaps. You will get a good run here at Atlanta if you can take care of your equipment. And I do have a piece for you here, Rob. Something that slipped my mind at the time. So Mr. Clemens, Jack Clemens, the number 2 truck, did qualify on the pole. However, he drove through one too many pit boxes at Bristol, so he had to serve an EOL.
That would explain that. Thank you, Caleb. That's definitely good information there. But with how fast he was, you would definitely expect to see him work his way back through the field. Looks like right now he's worked his way up to the 21st position, so he does not get credited on our board here as being the biggest mover of the race. But that would put him tied with Dustin Adams, up 13 positions from where he began the race tonight. As we are hitting our choose cone as we speak, and literally hitting the choose cone for, not sure who that was. We'll follow up on that here in a moment, but he definitely hit the cone there.
Yeah, a bit of indecisiveness there from that light blue truck. We'll have to figure out who that was, but they are guilty. No questions about it there.
See if we can figure out who that was here. Looks like maybe the 39 of Dominic Hughes. Looks like at the moment he's not planning on taking his EOL, so if he doesn't, that would end up being a penalty post-race, unfortunately for him.
I was about to say, this is a situation, lap 17. If there are any doubts you want to serve that, there is a lot of time to make up all that track position.
All right, meanwhile, back to the front. Clint Cox has once again taken the outside. Looks like Alex Forget decided that he wanted to restart behind the 03 of Clint Cox, giving Michael Reed a nice opportunity here on this restart. We'll see if this little bit of a risky move works out for Alex after the inside worked so well for him on the last restart. Pace car is off as the trucks head into the restart zone. Clint Cox is on the loud pedal and blinking as he takes off out of the restart zone there. No harm, no foul at the moment as guys are trying to get things sorted further behind.
Yeah, I'm sure they are looking at the blinking there in front of the field, hoping it gets sorted out for them. Very surprised to see, like I said, I can see the first 2 spots in Berube and Cox taking the outside. But Michael Reed got a row there. And as we go 3 wide here, it's Tyler Harrison making the big-time move.
Tyler Harrison not afraid to make that move early here, dives to the inside 3 wide. So far, doesn't look like it's necessarily paying off for him, but sometimes you get those runs, you feel like you just have to take them while you have them.
It looks like track position's going to be keying here. Maybe not so much for your long-term race plans, but you don't, right now being around 15th, it looks like it is chaos back there. We got 3 wide all over the place.
Oh, yeah, these cars are absolutely everywhere. You got Grant Thorpe here trying to run the middle of the track. Jackson McGeorge trying to run that with him. You got, who is that? The 51 there of Jake Williams running the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody else just trying to find a little clean air anywhere they can get it.
I will say that quad oval that we all know and love, especially in the new version of this, it can be scary there. It is still scary in these trucks. You can get loose. You can get tight.
As Jake Williams gets loose in the background there. Big loose out of 2. Nice save from him.
Yeah, looks like that's going to be a big trouble spot as we got a car up maybe in the fence. Looks like he gathered it. It was Trevor Keith there as Michael Reed looks to the inside for P3.
And he is to the inside of Chris Stamper for the 3rd position. Michael Reed continues his forward progress through the field. It's going to be hard to keep that momentum up on the bottom. The truck's going to get really loose on you, as you see a bunch of trucks behind him getting loose here on corner exit of turn 2.
Trevor Keith kind of started that chain reaction, I guess you could say. That happens here a lot out of turn 2. You get caught in the mix and you follow the leader right into the wall. Good job, everybody, keeping it together. So we got a little bit of a mix-up around that 7th to 8th spot, all following Trevor Keith.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. Alex Forget Berube with an issue there. Not sure what happened off of turn 4 as they're wrecking behind him here.
Oh,
big wreck.
Behind. Oh, somebody right into the fence there. Pickles looks like he might have avoided a majority of the contact there.
The truck looks pretty clean, but Dill Pickle absolutely involved there. I don't think anybody's too bad off after that. Like most everybody has their fenders on still. See what happened here. Coming off of turn 2, same thing we were just talking about.
Yep, that's going to be the money spot right there. Looks like somebody gets into the fence. It's hard to react and check up in time. And there they all go.
Did ourselves another replay here before trucks potentially come to pit road. Like Al Likens is out of the gas trying not to get into the 39. He's I mean, everybody is just kind of following each other, just in the gas too early here, leading themselves towards the wall here on corner exit. And it looks like, who is that there? The 23 of Chris Schaefer probably got the worst of that one.
Yeah, it looks like him and the 61 of Frank Hughes both took a decent hit there. That's not a spot you want to hit on these trucks. That can cause some long-term damage. We got Trevor Keith coming down. The first car to take tires. This will be interesting. Maybe flipping the stage here. Looks like Justice Murphy, he likes to do that quite often. It might be a good move for these guys in the back half of this field.
Yeah, you've got Trevor Keith, Jack Clemens, as we talked about earlier. He's down pit road. Nick Alves, Frank Hughes, Jackson McGeorge, Jake Williams. A lot of contenders here, potential contenders, coming down pit road trying to flip this stage, which you can definitely do here, especially if you get a quick caution on this restart. You know, this could really set you up well for the back half of this race. The unfortunate part of this is if they do get a series of green flag laps here at Atlanta, any type of time on your tires is going to take life out of them. You're going to have to be trying to do everything you can not to abuse these tires at all during this quick little run. That way you don't have too big of a tire deficit once we're on the other side of the stage.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where you want to be the first car on that strategy. However, you also don't want to burn them up. So a lot of times, if I'm in this situation, I will ride. I will make sure that I do not hurt them at all. But then, if you do that, you run the risk of being the last car on that strategy, and you are a sitting duck.
Absolutely. It's a tough line there, but when you're some of these guys, I know Justice Murphy, stuck back kind of mid-pack. He has reasonable speed. Maybe he didn't have the best qualifying run. This is an opportunity to kind of flip your race here. As long as you can maintain well on the other side, it'll definitely pay dividends for you. And you weren't getting any stage points anyway. So I think it's a good call here for the majority of those guys that decided to go and take it there. And we'll see what happens. Now that it is lap 25, our stage is lap 30, any caution that we have after this point, if it were to happen before lap 30, would be the end of our stage. So that's something to keep an eye on as we move forward here. Could be choosing this next time by.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for some of these guys to earn some points. Berube, Mr. Alex in the 19 truck there, third in points. Great opportunity for him. Clint Cox, our points leader, coming into this race, looking for a playoff point as well. A lot of these guys are up front in the point standings, and they're going to be fighting for this pretty hard here.
Well, these are guys who are not so concerned about making their way back to the front. I'm sure they don't think they'll have any issues getting back there after they pit. Let's see how we choose this time. We've had a couple of chooses already. Clint Cox has always taken the same strategy, but it's been a little different from second and third. Chris Stamper goes high. They go low behind him, and they split behind there.
Yeah, expect Stamper to stay with his teammate Clint Cox there pretty much any time they get the opportunity to. Interesting to see Berube choose second on the inside after he had chose the top in that instance earlier. Michael Reed, once again, going to be taking the bottom. Looking for a little bit of a better restart this time through.
Field makes their way through turns 1 and 2. As mentioned, we are nearing the end of the stage. When we take the green flag here, we will only have 4 laps before the end of our stage. The pay window, or at least the little pay window, I guess you could say, is absolutely open. As you mentioned, Caleb, these guys want that playoff point. They want these stage points. I expect to see a lot of guys with the rear end of the car, or rear end of the truck, hung out here trying to make something happen with only 3 or 4 laps here.
Absolutely, as they come to the green. I'm looking for that 91 to get a better restart. If he does, I think he might have something here for Clint. Depends how much he saved. As you see, he's getting on that left rear a little bit close here.
Yeah, he's leaned far over to the right so that makes sure he can see when Clint Cox launches. And it didn't seem to help him out too much, unfortunately for him, as it looks like Clint Cox is going to be well clear, and now it's going to be a race for second as they head down into turn 1.
Clint Cox is going to clear all the way through, but Michael Reed still gets a pretty solid run on that bottom side.
Yeah.
You wonder how much they got. Oh, he's going to squeeze up.
A decent push out of Alex Forget pushes him clear through to second. And now Forget's looking to the bottom of Michael Reed here as Michael Reed's has his eyes set on the leader of Clint Cox. They are 2 by 2 behind the leader at the moment. These trucks are all over the place. Alex Forget through the grass. Incredible save. He's going to keep it straight.
Wow, big time loose. Kind of came up a little bit, almost got turned. It's not the pass in the grass, but it's a pass to hold your spot, not injured day. So well done to Berube.
Absolutely. Obviously, these trucks are a handful. You see these guys really fighting them here on corner exit. And, speaking of fighting, Michael Reed trying to take the fight to the 03 of Clint Cox. Just can't quite get to him here. We have 2 laps to go at the line. Does Michael Reed have anything for him?
We're seeing them get higher and higher here with not much left on these tires. Using everything that they got left. They're going higher and higher in 3 and 4. And you see Michael Reed in 1 and 2 also going high. I don't know if he's going to be able to build up a run. He looked really good out of 3 and 4 last time.
Got a few of them in the wall. They all keep it straight, so we're going to keep focused here on the battle for the lead. As I say we have caution. We got a big one down here in turn 3.
Big one. Matty Robinson goes around. That's a shame. I think we're going to see a great finish to that stage there between the 03 and the 91, but it will go to Clint Cox as they're going to get this straightened out.
Michael Reed was just getting ready to make his move as they entered turn 3. Let's see what brought out the caution here for us. You see them, oh man, they just fighting over, big hit there for Trevor Keith.
Yeah, looks like 4, maybe even 5 wide to a certain extent, getting into the quarter there, running out of room.
Let's get ourselves another angle here and kind of see how we ended up in this situation. You see, this is all because these guys were loose coming off the corner. Got Matty Robinson trying to go top to bottom. Looks like he's just not clear.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of those guys involved there. Not going to be, big hit to the door of Grant Turner right there. Um, Not going to be happy with the spotter of the one. They were already 4 wide. He had a run going on the 48 in the truck below. Misjudged it a little bit, wasn't clear, and that kind of started that chain there.
Definitely not ideal. He'll bring, Matty Robinson will bring that truck down and try to get it repaired, but he's probably going to have quite a bit of damage there. Meanwhile, all those guys who stayed out there at the end of the stage, that last caution, obviously down pit road here, getting their service, getting their fuel and tires. And just like we expected, we have our guys who pit before the end of the stage staying out. And it looks like Kevin Orlando Jr. is going to assume the lead with Christopher Lowry. Looks like Dill Picklesheimer, Jake Williams, Joe Goya, Nick Alves, Justice Murphy, I believe Devin Hudgens, all on that same strategy. And now we'll see what that tire deficit really looks like.
Yeah, and on the other side of flipping a stage, there is a risk that you might not have had at the front of the field. We saw Trevor Keith starting up front, fell back a little bit to 5th, ultimately decides to come down, flip the stage, play the track position, and he's involved in that accident. And that's something that you take a risk when you move that far back in the pack. So unfortunate for him to be involved there. But Kevin Orlando loves that strategy. Oh, it looks like Mr. Lowry is going to assume the lead, it appears. So good on him.
Yeah, nice strategy call here, setting these guys up on the back half of this race. But yeah, just like you said, you know, when you make these calls to pit early, you put yourself back in the pack, and then the wreck kind of happens in front of you. Difficult position to be in. And now that's exactly what Clint Cox, Michael Reed, Chris Stamper, Tyler Harrison, these guys who were up front are going to have to contend with. You saw there in that replay of the crash, the last crash, Devin Hudgens, one of the guys who are on this pit strategy here of pitting before the end of the stage. You saw him sideways, narrowly avoiding that incident. So, yeah, definitely something you got to keep your eyes peeled. You got to be prepared for anything that could head your way. Once you get back in the middle of these packs, you know, anything could happen at any moment.
It's a dangerous spot to be. Always prefer being out here right behind that pace car. Coming to the start of this stage. And another thing to look at, Clint Cox, Michael Reed, 9th and 10th. They're going to be eager to work their way to the front of the field, and they've got a couple cars that have been involved in accidents. Picklesheimer, Jake Williams, and Devin Hudgens have all been around in some shape or form. Don't know how much damage they got fixed, but could be a bit of a unique restart here. See how much patience they have for those guys.
These guys come to the choose cone. They have not really been in a position to choose from the front here, so let's see what happens. Looks like Lowry takes the top, Orlando bottom, Pickle to the outside, and everybody just kind of swaps back and forth from there. Nothing too crazy there.
Yeah, Atlanta is one of these racetracks where if you're back on the pack on fresh tires, you can choose the bottom or the top and advance your way forward. You can take it super high in 1 and 2. You can dive somebody into the corner as well. Either way, you're going to have to make a big-time move. Let's see what they do here.
And while we are here and have a moment as the field progresses through turns 1 and 2, we do just want to give ourselves a nice shout-out to KSX Racing Graphics and thank them for sponsoring the race tonight. Unfortunately, Trevor Keith wishing that things were going a little bit better for him at the moment. But we did want to shout out KSX Racing Graphics for everything they do. If you do need a paint made, you can definitely check them out on social media, KSX Racing Graphics, and get any of the paint scheme needs that you would need taken care of there through them. See Trevor Keith with that very pretty truck tonight. You could look that nice out there as well. The field heads out of turn 4. Pace car is off. We have Christopher Lowry, the control truck, on the outside. Green flag is back out. A decent start for Lowry. We see them a little more broken apart here for 2nd, 3rd, 4th than we normally have at the beginning of this race. But they're all over each other now as they head down through turn 1 and outside of turn 2. Kevin Orlando to the outside. Dill Picklesheimer's got a run right behind him, and they are flying past Christopher Lowry down the back straightaway into 3.
Yeah, I was curious about Kevin taking the inside there on that choose cone, but if I think I'm in the same spot as him, I would have done the same. He might have saw something out of the 70 earlier in the run, being around him. And he took the run there, went right on around, made it look easy. But now Dylan Picklesheimer, we've seen some early aggression out of him. Let's see if he's got anything for that 27.
I think he does. He pulls to the inside on corner exit of turn 2, and he's now drag racing Kevin Orlando down the back straightaway. They enter turn 3 side by side. Dylan Picklesheimer is going to easily take the position, but is he abusing the tires to do so as Kevin Orlando gets a nice little run on corner exit? Maybe Picklesheimer got a little loose, and now they are side by side as they battle down into turn 1.
Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon when you are full speed. Oh, it looks like we might. Oh, never mind. We're still green. Sorry about that. But when you go as hard as you can into that corner, you're fighting a loose truck the whole time, and then you go full throttle in there, you will get tight. That might have happened to Picklesheimer, which allowed Kevin to take advantage of that high side. And I know, if I know both of these guys, I know they like to go and they like to go hard. And here comes Clint Cox already, taking advantage of those fresh tires.
Absolutely flying through the field here is Clint Cox. I don't see Michael Reed on screen here. Looks like Michael Reed is still back in the 10th position. So obviously Clint Cox making his way through the field a lot easier than most, as we have somebody off back here. Joe Goya is really loose on exit of turn 2, but looks like he's going to keep it safe to keep it green here. Clint Cox looks to the, well, we got stuff going on all over the place. Kevin Orlando and Dill Picklesheimer side by side again down the front straightaway to see if Dill Picklesheimer can finally complete the job as they head down through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, these guys are trying to get away from that 03 truck. Hard into the wall goes Devin. It's going to stay green as long as everybody can avoid him. Looks like that's going to be the case. Could have been a bit of net code there. I didn't see too much contact, and the 84 shot sideways. We might have to take another look at that, but he might be done for the day here.
Yeah, it looked to me, and we will see here once we get things settled out here. We'll see if we can go back and see exactly what happened, but it looked to me like Clint Cox blinked, and right when he blinked, it just kind of took Hudgens out. That was really unfortunate for Devin. He was having a great run.
Yeah, you hate to see that strategy worked out quite well. We've seen a couple blinks here out of the 9. Hopefully that doesn't impact our race any further.
Yeah, not sure if it's maybe something going on with the servers here tonight with iRacing. It's hard to say.
Yeah, hopefully not. As we a little bit farther in the back, a couple times here off of 2, I've noticed a lot of guys are getting loose in that same spot. Mixed tires and whatnot, we're starting to see those guys on older tires fall out. But Picklesheimer, Kevin, and Mr. Lowry are doing a great job holding on so far.
Yeah, Kevin is not letting Dylan Picklesheimer drive away from him here. He's continuing to put the pressure on him. We're going to take this quick opportunity here to try to go back and see what happened. What exactly happened here through turns 1 and 2 with Devin Hudgens and Clint Cox. See what we can pull up for us here. See them side by side, enter in turn 1 and 2. Tell me what you see here, Caleb.
They're good right now. Plenty of space there. Yeah, I mean, classic net code. You can kind of see, doesn't look like Devin's loose at all. And his truck gives the imitation, at least, that it got hit in the left rear.
Yeah, and you see that 03 kind of jump at the same time. It's a very odd situation, but as we were taking a look at that, Kevin Orlando going ahead, putting the pressure back on Picklesheimer, takes it to the inside and completes the pass. These guys are just swapping the lead every lap, it seems, right now.
They're giving it everything that they got. Clint Cox, you know he's wanting to save a little bit here, but he now has Chris Stamper and Michael Reed right on his tail. So he's going to want to make a move here and make it as soon as possible to not let those guys have an opportunity to get around him.
Yes, you're right. Clint Cox looks to the inside of Dill Picklesheimer for the second position. Michael Reed, as we talked about, wasn't making his way through the field as quickly as Clint Cox. Now seems like he's made up some of that ground that he had lost. Now only 2 trucks behind. You see Michael Reed there in the 5th position, trying to put the moves on Chris Stamper, who I believe Stamper's also on the same tire strategy, is he not?
He is. He is with the 03 and the 91 here. I believe Chris Stamper finished third in the stage, right behind those two, Michael Reed and the 03. The 03 is making a move for the lead. I don't think Mr. Orlando is going to have much here for him.
Yeah, I think the tire deficit's just going to be too much for Kevin Orlando Jr. here. He's going to do his best, but the 03 of Clint Cox is going to make pretty easy work of it around the outside. Now the question is, we've worked our way through the trucks on older tires. Who has the long run pace? Who did not, put extra work on those tires that they didn't need to in order to work through this field? And who's still going to be there with the pace at the end of this run?
Looking at our scoreboard here, Travis Gilbert has been slowly moving his way up through this field. He is on fresh tires. Tyler Harrison as well. Those are two guys that have kind of slowly been working their way through. Berube's kind of settled into around that 10th to 11th spot. And they're starting to get strung out, so this is the time where you take care of your stuff, get into a groove, and let these guys run hard in front of you.
A good call on Travis Gilbert, up 22 positions so far in this race. Also up 22 positions is this 27 Starry Chevy of Kevin Orlando. You see Chris Stamper and Michael Reed desperately trying to get past Kevin, but Kevin has pretty decent pace here on these slightly older tires. He's proving to be difficult to pass.
He's known for that, some would say. Depends who you're asking. But Kevin, he's holding his line, making these guys work for it. And I've seen that 91, who usually is really good about saving tires. I've seen him wiggling hard off the end of these corners. And it's definitely a battle between these two to get around them first, not let that 03 get too far ahead.
And Kevin Orlando, known as the Ryan Newman of the Racing Revolution, notoriously hard to pass in situations where you really need to get around the guy. Forget it. He's the hardest guy on the racetrack to pass. Michael Reed learning that now as he finally gets to the inside of Kevin and just cannot complete the pass. Looks like Chris Stamper is going to try to give his assistance to Kevin around the top here. And I think Michael Reed's finally clear. See if he can come up on the corner exit here as Kevin's very loose. A great save from Kevin. Great save by Picklesheimer behind him on the exit of 2.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of those guys that stayed out. We saw two of them right there, especially the ones that went hard in Picklesheimer and Orlando. We are on about green flag lap 15 to 20 of this run for those guys on that set of tires. And it's starting to show.
And Caleb, I'm not sure if you had insight here on fuel mileage, how long it's going to be before we see these guys start to pit. But I know I wasn't able to get that information before the race.
Yeah, we're looking at about 45 laps or so. You might be able to stretch it down to that 47, 48 number. So what that does essentially is you should be able to make it on one stop, as long as you don't make any errors in your pit stop on how much Kevin is struggling.
And then the 39 struggling there too.
Loose too. Yeah, they both got loose at the same time. Kevin probably to avoid them. But yeah, unless you somehow add less fuel to the car than what you need. I don't know if we've ever seen that before.
Never.
But if we have, you should be able to make it on one stop. It takes away a lot of the strategy on, maybe short pitting, long pitting, anything like that. They're going to be coming, I'd imagine, around 80. That'd probably be the number I'd be looking at.
Thank you, Caleb. As we continue to see guys trying to work their way past Kevin Orlando, who's doing a great job holding on these older tires. But, inevitably, there's only so much that you can do. Eventually, you're just going to be forced to kind of settle in and take what the truck's going to give you. Looks like Kevin is about to that settle-in stage here as he has similar pace to these trucks around him. But Travis Gilbert up into the top 5 now. Dominic Hughes, who may or may not have a post-race penalty, currently running in the 4th position. And it is nice to see Devin Hudgens back out on the racetrack, even though he is a bit injured. Just trying to get some points here. Actually, he checks up Harrison pretty bad on the corner entry to 1 there. Harrison's not going to be happy about that.
Yeah, no way. Not in a time like this where you're starting to get strung out. And then a car holds you up, costs you maybe 2, 3, 4 spots, and another second in time. That's never ideal. And you might want to press a little bit and try to get it all back in a couple turns, especially with this much traffic right in front of them.
You see these guys working 2 by 2. we're currently looking at the 6th, 7th, and 8th positions here with Alex Forget, Berube, Kevin Orlando Jr., and Tyler Harrison working their way around the track. Currently, Clint Cox has worked his way out to a 1.3 second lead. Chris Stamper about a half a second off of second place Michael Reed. And then kind of this little pack that we're watching right now behind them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the guys out here. Grant Thorpe, all the way down, maybe to Jackson McGeorge, those guys. What you can do here at Atlanta, especially in these trucks, is you can really back it up for the first 25 laps of a run, and your truck will come to life in the back half of the 20. It's risky to do because of track position. I'm curious if any of those guys saved really, really hard. And if you're able to drive single fire, like right
Parker
there behind
Johnson's
him. There
around.
goes Parker. Oh, and that's going to bring out a caution.
Not
Just
too
clips the
much.
rear end there.
And not too much contact for Parker there. Should be able to buff that out. He should be all right. But I think it's pretty obvious what the strategy is now. You're coming down, you're filling it full, you're taking 4 tires, and you're going to have a 1 stop to the end of the race after this, Caleb.
Absolutely. Makes it pretty clear there's not a whole lot of options on strategy. Come down, have as clean of a pit stop as you possibly can. That's one of those situations off of turn 2. Not sure what happened, but somebody might have got a little loose there on the 48, paid the ultimate price.
And we will try to get that pulled up for us here and see how Parker Johnson ended up in that precarious situation. See if he had any help or if it was just a case of a loose truck here. Coming off of turn 2. I think he starts loose, maybe ends up with a little help, but that's racing at Atlantis for you. Old Atlanta do that.
Oh yeah, old turn 2. And I know that's a awful spot for the leaders, especially if you're Clint Cox. You're ready to set sail, save your stuff, let's roll. And then, something in the very back of the field makes you come down and re-rack everyone, put them on your back bumper again.
Absolutely. Everybody down pit road here for service. You'd expect to see 4 tires and fuel here for the entire field. This will put everybody back on the same strategy. I think Kevin Orlando did a pretty good job of holding on as long as he could. It looks like Michael Reed's going to beat Clint Cox off of pit road. Michael Reed, Clint Cox, Chris Stamper, Berube, and Dominic Hughes are going to be your top 5. We're going to take this opportunity to get a quick side-by-side ad break in. We are the Revo Racing Network. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We will be right back with you.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Welcome back to our broadcast of the Coastal Financial Truck Series here on the Revo Racing Network. Michael Reed continues to lead as we head towards our choose box, I believe. Michael Reed, Clint Cox taking the top, Chris Stamper, Alex Berube taking the bottom, and you'd expect to see everybody kind of split them from behind there.
Yeah, we see a good row there take the bottom. We saw the first 2 cars take the top. Looked like Stamper and Berube took the inside. It seems to be a common theme so far, as everybody else gets through pretty cleanly.
All right, so you've got fresh tires on the truck. Everything's looking good. The truck's never going to feel better than it will right here on this restart. Caleb, if you are one of these guys who thinks they have what it takes to win tonight, but you're not leading the race, do you want to try to take advantage of these guys early while they're trying not to abuse the tires, or do you want to implement that strategy of holding back and waiting?
From what I've seen so far in this race, just reading off the actions of everybody, you want to be in the front, and if you want to be in front of that 03, that 91, you need to go and then run at whatever pace that they want to run at. Just keep them behind you. So I would go, if I'm in the top half of the field here, this top 3 rows, I would say. Everybody else behind then, I'd be looking to save and take my advantages.
Kind of a Delaware restart here, as Chris Stamper wasn't anywhere near being lined up beside the 91 truck of Michael Reed. But Michael Reed's not going to complain, as he has a commanding lead of this restart here down into turns 1 and 2. And Chris Stamper will hold on to the 2nd position, now side by side for the 3rd position with Alex Forget Berube and Clint Cox.
Very interesting restart there. I'm not sure what went on, but Chris Stamper is happy about it. Clint Cox chose the outside there, and he will lose a spot. That's the first time we've seen that tonight. And he looks
temporarily.
Like he's gonna charge back on the outside. Temporarily.
Yeah, we saw Chris Stamper get loose down there on the bottom. Clint Cox goes ahead and decides to take that position from him, and now he's through to 2nd position. Who has the pace on the fresh tires? We're about to find out, as Clint Cox is in pursuit of Michael Reed down the back straightaway with a big run as he heads into turn 3. Where does he go? He looks to the top.
It looks like I'm a little bit surprised these guys are avoiding the very bottom of the surface there in 3 and 4 until they get about 3/4 of the way down. That kind of surprises me. I'm somebody that likes to wrap the bottom all the way through. That appears to be the preferred line, and it moves up as the run goes on. As Clint Cox is going to send this thing down in there, they get sticks. See if Michael Reed will have the run on the top here.
Going to be a tough pass to complete down there, like you just outlined, Caleb. It does seem like guys are taking that really late arch down to the bottom of the racetrack, especially down here in 3 and 4. I'm just not sure that you can get enough momentum up off the corner running the very bottom here, which means it could be a very difficult pass for Clint Cox. And right now it is proving to be difficult, as Alex Forget is looking to see if he can take advantage of these guys while they're side by side, continuing to battle through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see what lines they take down here into 3 and 4. If he can get side by side with him again. There was almost a fight over the same ground there. Clint Cox wanted Michael Reed to run a little bit higher in that last turn. Didn't get it, lost a lot of his momentum. And as Berube is going to breathe down his neck, we lost Berube for a little bit, but here he comes. He always finds a way back to the front.
Alex Forget Berube, these are the types of races where we normally see him excel, where there's a little bit of tire savings, and we have another caution here. Not sure what it's for. Oh, we have Dustin Adams up in the outside wall. Turn 1, I believe.
That is turn 1. He brings it around safely. See what we got on this one.
Pull up the instant replay here on the Revo Racing Network. And might have to roll it back a little further to kind of see how we got here, but not pretty on first look there at all, Caleb.
Looking like a fight over the same spot. Maybe one guy thinks the other one's going to give a little bit more room, or run the quad over a little bit lower. 25 is on the bottom there.
70 kind of comes down and gets him, doesn't he?
Correct. He comes down and gets him, but that's one of those ones where maybe the 70s expected the 25 to hang it a little bit lower in the quad.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's a little cautious about running into the fence there. And he comes down a good bit.
Yeah, they kind of met in the middle. Perhaps Lowry came down a little bit more, but, not to be lost in all this. I know, we get used to these next-gen cars that are just planted in the corner and have unlimited downforce and grip and everything. And, you get in these trucks and, there's a lot of travel in these suspensions, and they're definitely more difficult to drive. You get going through this dog leg here. You have So it's essentially two small, high-speed corners. Guys are still trying to gather it up coming off of turn 4, and it can be easy to kind of track out a little further than you intend to, or to kind of drift down the track a little bit more than you would intend to, just with the way that this track kind of pulls you through there in these cars.
Yeah, that spot right there, being on the high side, going to the quad, it can, if you make a quick little move on your wheel to the left to make sure you avoid the wall, you can get a little bit loose and come down farther than anticipated. It's gonna happen a couple times in the trucks and the Xfinity cars here. It's something that happens, and unfortunately for Tustin Adams, wrong place, wrong time, nothing he really could do about that one.
Wow, we have a moment here. Let's get a quick little word in here with Michael Reed. Michael, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Michael, pretty nice run for you here so far today. You're up 7 positions so far on the race. You seem to be able to hold up, keep this truck up front so far. What's been the key to working your way through the 4 corners here at Atlanta so far?
Just trying to keep it clean and do a little bit of tire management, though. Talking to my teammates, I don't think I'm doing that great of a job.
Yeah, Michael, we saw you take the lead on pit road there. It appears everybody around you is running pretty hard. Are you in a situation right now where you're gonna, if these guys want to run hard, are you gonna let them go, or are you gonna fight as hard as you can?
No, I think with the way the cautions are falling, I'm gonna try to keep as much track position as I can. But if it's looking like a long green flag run, I might kind of change up here in the middle.
Gotcha. Very well done to get the lead so far. Anything you're feeling in the truck as far as the different turns go? Any differences in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4?
No, they're both slick and bumpy and hard to hang on to.
It appears that way up here in the booth. Best of luck to you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that was Michael Reed, the current leader of the race there in that Glock IQ number 91. Very, very strong here in the front half of this race. But we do have the entire back half of the race yet to go. We've seen Clint Cox with a lot of speed. We've seen Alex Forget-Berube, Chris Stamper, and now Travis Gilbert up in the 5th position. He is up 25 spots so far in this race. We haven't really seen him up front to know what he has for these guys, but something tells me Travis, always fast at these types of tracks, might have something for him.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see what he has now that he's got the track position to hold. So he's going to gain a row here and go down to the bottom. It's going to be a great opportunity for Travis to make a move on these top 3.
Yeah, I think he's made the right decision here, going down and taking that extra row, essentially going from 5th to 3rd here for this restart. We'll see if that pays off for him. All right, let's kind of re-rack here. We've got Michael Reed in the lead. We've got Alex Forget restarting to the inside. And then in row 2, you've got Clint Cox and Travis Gilbert. You have Dominic Hughes and Chris Stamper there in row 3. And I believe that is Tyler Harrison and Kevin Orlando Jr. back there in row 4 for those guys. Then you have Kyle Diaz and Dylan Picklesheimer in row 5, rounding out the top 10.
We go green here coming to lap 68. I'm curious to see if anybody pit there on the back half of the field. I'm sure there's a good bit of damaged trucks. Might be worth a flyer if you are down in that 15, 16 spots. And the 6 laps doesn't seem like a lot, but it can add up if you get a full run.
Pace
See if
car,
anybody charges their way.
pace car is off. Michael Reed leads them into the restart zone. He launches and gets a pretty decent restart here. He's going to have sole command of the lead, but they will be side by side for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, every position behind them, side by side through turns 1 and 2.
Great restart for Berube there. That is the 2nd restart in a row. Oh, Travis almost gets into the 03 there. Trying to get as much as they can. 2nd restart in a row. The 03 has chose the 2nd car on the outside and has lost a position because of it.
Yeah, and this looks like it's paying off here for Travis Gilbert there, taking the bottom and gaining that extra row. Man, he's really close there to the 03 of Clint Cox as they exit turn 4. They continue to battle side by side, heading down to turns 1 and 2. Alex Forget-Berube trying to look to the inside of Michael Reed. Nothing doing there yet, but Travis Gilbert completes the pass for the 3rd position. And we'll see what he can do here with our leaders now.
03 takes his run off the high side there. Gonna dive it down in once again, almost colliding, fighting over that same spot, trying to get a groove up on that second lane. So they're gonna keep battling it out here. Kevin Orlando coming in the mix.
Kevin Orlando finding himself on the right side of the strategy to get himself up to the front now, showing that he has the speed to stay here. Kevin Orlando looking to get back into the top 5, trying to make a move on Stamper, as Travis Gilbert looks to the inside of Alex Forget Berube for the second position.
Here comes Travis, gonna take that run, gonna make that very bottom lane work. We haven't seen it.
Oh, he's gonna squeeze up in front of him.
Oh, Berube's not gonna be happy about that, but he looks like he's gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. That is a dangerous spot to do that. We almost saw Berube get turned earlier in that same spot, went through the grass, getting loose there. Very nice of him to give him a break.
Yeah, Alex had a decision to make there and decided on lap 71 he was going to go ahead and let Travis take the position. As you said, probably not too happy about it, but we'll see if anything else comes of that later on in the race. Fortunately, everybody able to keep it straight, but now Travis Gilbert has his sights on this 91 of Michael Reed, trying to find his way past the Glock IQ truck here, as he's just kind of storming his way through the field. But is he abusing his tires too much in order to make his way to the front?
We heard Michael Reed in his interview say he was not going to just forfeit the spot trying to save. He was going to hold on to his track position. Looks like Travis has the same idea in mind here. And the biggest fan of that is going to be Berube, Clint Cox, and Kevin Orlando, as they can ride, let these guys go, and hopefully they come back to him.
Travis Gilbert continues to see what he can do with him. We see we've kind of single filed out through the top 10 now.
Yeah, we know that these guys are running pretty hard. Back to Kyle Diaz there in 10th. He's starting to close the gap into this main pack, but then after that, there is a pretty large gap back to around, looks like it would be the 12th position. I wonder if somebody's holding that pack up, if they're saving tires, taking their time, knowing that these guys are going so hard at the front of this field.
It's hard to say. Right now, we're just going to stick with this battle up front with these trucks being as close as they are, and just kind of see how this plays out right now. Are you a little bit surprised to see Clint Cox back here in 4th, or do you think maybe he's just trying to save a little tire, knowing that he has the speed to get it done?
He's really good racing around him so much. He's really good at finding that perfect edge of running hard, but also not killing it. And at the start of this run, it looks like he wasn't going all out while these guys might have been. And sometimes the first 3 or 4 laps, losing a 10th here and there, it might make the difference to where he can still run hard and still have a little bit more than these guys. So I'm not surprised to see that. And he's in a really good spot, being only 4 tenths back here.
Travis Gilbert looks again to the inside of Michael Reed through 3 and 4. He's going to try to stay side by side with him, but he may give up a position here to Alex Forget Berube in the process of trying to take that lead. They battle side by side down into turn 1. Looks like Travis sliding up the track again. And how many times can you do that to Alex before he's had enough? Alex is able to take that second position away now, though. And now he has his sights on the 91 truck of Michael Reed.
Yeah, we've seen a ton of accidents there. Berube has held a pretty will twice now for him. You know what they say, the third time's the charm. That might be Berube's last straw on that one. But he's done a great job when that situation occurs to keep everybody straight, not panicking, overreacting, putting it in defense.
Yeah, not to say anything bad about Travis there either. I mean, he's just trying to get the most out of the truck, and I mean, he's definitely maximizing his corner exit right there, carrying as much momentum as he possibly can. So, you know, he's not necessarily doing anything wrong, just putting Alex in a position to make some decisions for him as we see everybody kind of check up there on the exit of turn 4. Now, here comes Clint Cox. Has he saved enough tire to get past these guys now? Does he think now is the time to make the move on these guys as they battle for second?
Yeah, we saw it right there. We saw Travis get real loose on corner exit a couple times. Berube does the same thing the next lap out of 4. It's cost him a little bit of speed, lets Travis come back to him. And now Clint Cox is in a position where how aggressive do you be? He might have a little bit more, but where do you go with that?
Yeah, right now the entire track is kind of blocked for. Oh, and now he's going to go to the middle.
There it is.
Contact between Travis Gilbert, Clint Cox, and Alex Forget. They keep it straight for now. But, man, that was a bit of a bold decision out of Clint there to try to take it to the middle. And now Travis is going to get into Alex again. This time he walls him. Clint Cox goes top to bottom. Caution is out.
Wow. Fantastic caution timing for Berube there. He was going to lose at least all the way back to Kevin and have no momentum for this next turn.
Looks like Justice Murphy involved.
Yeah, he was one of those guys in that second pack, most likely saving. I'm curious to see what we had happen. Oh, no.
Oh, man, big contact with the outside wall there. That's definitely a day ender for that Revo Racing Network number 12. Kind of came in late there. Let's see if we can get a better idea of how we got here. He's battling here with the, I believe that's the 61 of Frank Hughes. Side-by-side enter in turn 1. Caleb, what do you see here?
Justice starts to come up right on into the 61. Looks like a situation where it's hard to tell if either the 12 got tight and came up into the 61, or maybe he expected the 61 to arc it out, starting on corner exit a little bit more than what he did. Looks like a racing deal to me, just based off the initial contact.
Riding on board Justice Murphy here. This is a big hit. Let's listen to it.
That's a day ender.
That is absolutely a day ender. Tough night for Justice Murphy. Never quite had the speed that he wanted tonight, I'm sure. And then for it to end like that, that's going to be a frustrating night there for the All About Bugs Revo Racing Network number 12. But we see everybody down pit road here. Looks like Michael Reed, the first off of pit road, followed by Alex Forget, Clint Cox, Travis Gilbert, Chris Stamper.
It looks like everybody holds their position. Berube looks like he was able to keep that spot with a fortunate caution timing. So a pretty good break there, as we saw the racing was really starting to pick up in the front of the field.
Yeah, they were racing the crap out of each other there, but also just starting to see that tire wear and that tire management become important right there at the end of that run before we had that caution. You know, what were you seeing before the caution out of these guys? Who was taking the best care of those tires? Who was the one who was abusing them, you think?
Yeah, I mean, we really saw Travis go for it, starting to fall back. Berube, and a lot of times when they're starting to fall off and you're trying to get around the guy, you can fall into the trap of maybe pushing a little bit too hard for a lap or two, and you end up in that same spot. Those two were running pretty hard. Michael Reed was a very big fan of that. Clint Cox looks like he had a car, wasn't getting loose off corner exits, anything like that. But a little bit impatient when it comes to taking the run there, as we saw him take it 3 for a second time. I would have been very interested to see Chris Stamper in that 5. I think he would have been in the better spot of anybody not named Michael Reed. And that's if Clint Cox could have got through there scotch-free.
All right, so 7th caution flag here. That includes our stage caution. You know, so far we've seen definitely a cleaner race here, more green flag laps than we've seen recently. You know, that's good news. We like to see the green flag racing out here. But, you know, now this kind of makes it difficult to figure out what you want to do from here if you're these guys who are leading. I feel like we have a good 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys who have potential race winning pace. You know, how do you work your tire strategy from here? I think you were saying about 40 laps on fuel. Can we even make it on fuel from here?
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. 85 is around when we're going to go green. Unless they're choosing here. They are choosing here. So that's about 42 laps. They should be good to go to the end. Like I said, if track conditions could be a little bit different from what I saw. Could be a little bit faster, which appears to be the case by a slight margin. I don't think that'll be a 2 or 3 lap difference on fuel. So we could be looking at a long green flag run to end this race.
Just taking a quick look through the YouTube chat here. See Woodrow 64 pulling for Jackson McGeorge and Michael Reed tonight. You're pulling for Michael Reed. You're probably having a good night there, Woodrow, so far. And we've got Terry Hudgens in here, obviously pulling for Devin Hudgens, as he always does. Says he's looking for another caution or two here to get the 84 back on the lead lap. Good luck to you guys there, the Hudgens family. Hopefully Devin can have a nice recovery after his early incident. But we are going to be completing lap 83 this time by. We're going to have about 40 laps to go, 42 laps to go here when we take the green. The control car is Michael Reed in the outside lane. Clint Cox on the inside as they enter the Geico restart zone here. Kind of stacked up on the bottom, a little looser up top. The green flag is out. Michael Reed drives away on another restart, side by side for second behind him.
Yeah, looks like Clint Cox learned from his previous restarts, getting a great shove from the 22 truck to keep some forward momentum going. But he learned from those last couple of restarts, chose the inside. It might get him back up to that second position if he can get around Berube here.
And they continue side by side down the back straightaway for positions 2, 3, 4, and 5. Doesn't really look like much of an advantage for anybody now as the battle continues as they exit turn 4.
As we see some guys starting to come into play after that P6 position, those guys pretty much remain unchanged, but we see Waylon Turner gain some spots, and as I say that, he loses a couple. But Jack Clemens, who qualified up front, had an EOL to serve, is finally starting to make his way up here as one of our main players.
Man, Alex Forget saw the 03 coming up, put a lot of wheel input in the truck in an attempt to try to cross him over, and had that thing absolutely hung out off of turn 2. I think Alex is probably about sick and tired of trucks coming up the track in front of him at this point in the race. As I say that, Clint Cox, here he comes. We're directly behind Michael Reed, trying to make the move to the inside into turn 1.
Yeah, as we see that 19 truck get sideways early in a run, that is not ideal. It's once those tires get hot here at Atlanta, as he almost again, it's not going to end well when they get that hot. The battle for the lead here. The 03 going to take the unpreferred lane on down in here, see if he can make it stick. The 22 is starting to stalk these two guys.
Clint Cox doing what he can to make the move now. He thinks now is the time to push it a little bit, take control of this race. It has been quite a while since we've seen the 03 control this race. Michael Reed is just so difficult to pass there on the top, and he's continuing to hold a pretty wheel up there, continuing to keep these guys battling behind him. And as I say that, Travis Gilbert decides it's his opportunity to go to the inside of Clint Cox here and try to take second.
Yeah, don't know if he's going to make it stick as the 03 has the run down there. A little bit close call into the quad oval. And what I'm noticing out of this 03 truck, when he is on the inside lane, we see a lot of these guys pushing it, getting a little bit loose on corner exit. He seems to be in full control when he is doing that. Doesn't look like the car's out of shape too much. And that is a good sign for his long run speed.
Yeah, I agree. That 03 truck has looked really stable all night long, and really so has the 91 of Michael Reed ever since we spoke to him. We saw him with the truck pretty squirrely there early on, but we've seen him kind of reel it in a little bit now, not abusing the tires as much, and it seems to be paying dividends for him at the moment as we have gotten single filed out here for the first, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 spots or so.
Appears to be all the way through. A lot of guys starting to settle in. Maybe knowing in the back of their mind that this could be the long run that goes all the way through to the end of this race. Not wanting to kill it too much, as there's a pretty big gap on back to Kevin Orlando. I'll be curious to see if he wants to drive up to the end of this pack and get himself into the mix, or if he's actually going to back it down.
And we saw Michael Reed kind of track out, way out to the wall there through the middle of the dog leg, and Clint Cox took it all the way to the bottom of the dog leg. Kind of caught each other in a weird spot there as they entered turn 1 and almost ran into each other. Glad to see they were able to keep things straight. But, we've talked a lot about Michael Reed, Clint Cox, and Travis Gilbert. One person we haven't mentioned a whole lot of lately, Chris Stamper. Here he comes in the 4th position, and he wants his opportunity at the lead here. Now looking to the outside of Travis Gilbert for the 3rd position.
Real close to the fence there, keeps it going with his forward momentum. He's been a guy that's been kind of hanging out, watching these guys go at it. Now that it's go time, he's starting to make his way into one of our top 3, potentially, if he can clear the 22 here. The 22 is not in contact. A great job to keep it clean.
Travis Gilbert once again, just kind of drifting up on corner exit and almost found himself head on in the outside wall through the dogleg there. Great job by everybody there to keep everything going straight, but that's brought Kevin Orlando in 5th place right up to these guys. Now Kevin Orlando is right here in it.
He couldn't be any happier to see that happen, especially now that he's gained about half a second to the leader here. I'll be curious to see if he has been saving any tires and how much patience these front four have for each other. It appears the block-in's ramping up, the aggression is getting up, and they are driving a little bit harder than they were earlier.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of patience left here in this top 5. These guys have been racing hard here on the back half of the race so far. As Travis Gilbert way out of shape. Oh, he about turns Chris Stamper on the entry to turn 3. Not really sure what that was about.
Yeah, I don't know if there's some frustrations with the 5. I don't think there would be any reason to, besides just some hard racing. Is another close call there. We are flirting with a disaster here with just about 30 laps to go.
It's starting to feel inevitable here with this small group of trucks. They continue to abuse each other a little bit here. Kevin Orlando now right on the tailgate of that 22. He's going to have a run down into turn 3. Let's see if he's going to take it. They kind of file out.
And as I was mentioning earlier, the groove seems to be getting higher and higher and higher, and that's going to hurt later on in this run.
We're seeing an accordion effect now. Michael Reed slowly backing up to the trucks behind him. We now have 6 cars under a blanket for the lead here. Michael Reed first, Clint Cox second, and then a gaggle of them here behind as Alex Forget has brought his way up into the battle for the top 5 as well. And I mean, right now it is absolutely anybody's race, and they are racing hard for it.
We got a lap car coming through here. It appears to be Grant Turner into 20. Weird spot of the track, right in the groove where the guys seem to be pointing towards. They're going to get through there pretty cleanly. And I'm watching this 19 truck. He was up in this group, didn't like what he saw, got the tires a little hot, backed it off, and now he's right back with him. So I'm curious to see what he's got. And as I say that, the broadcaster curse comes into play, and the tires are hot again.
A big-time loose moment there for Alex, but he is able to save it. And just like you were saying, we continue to watch everybody migrate further and further and further to the top. What's that doing to the tires as everybody moves further up the track, Caleb?
They're getting hot, is what's happening. And a lot of times you'll see guys go up there because if they're fighting a loose condition, if they hit the corner right and time their throttle inputs well, it'll help with that situation coming off corner exit. With the big caveat being, you don't want to get in the throttle too soon or you will go around. We still got 28 laps to go here. It's going to be very interesting to see in about another 15 or so what these guys have left in those.
It began as a battle. It's continued into a war here between Travis Gilbert and Chris Stamper. They are side by side again now for the 3rd position. We'll keep a close eye on these guys as they have continued to race each other very hard as this run has progressed. Travis Gilbert now going to come up in front of Chris. Chris going to cross him over. They are now side by side again. Chris Stamper in the unpreferred line on the bottom. What's he got for Travis down here into turn 3 and 4? He's going to run him up the racetrack here, Caleb.
Yeah, it's going to be a close call as he clears himself. The 5, the 22 gets into the rear of him. These guys will not give it up at all. Putting on a show for us, putting on a show for these guys right behind him, and they are starting to love to see it because the 2 truck and the 26 haven't heard a lot from them, but they are starting to close in on these guys.
Oh, contact. Oh, this one's going to hurt.
There goes 22. Oh, big hit for the 22.
No caution. They're off the racing surface. We should stay green here. Travis
trying
to get it straightened out here.
And I mean, how long, Rob, did we see that brewing?
You knew it was coming. Those guys, obviously no patience left for each other. Now, no time to even analyze it. We're side by side for the lead. Clint Cox to the inside of Michael Reed as all hell is broken loose here at Atlanta.
Yeah, unbelievable. As these guys go for the lead, our 6-car pack is now a 2-car pack with a second back to 3rd. But like I said, that 2 and that 26 truck are 2 trucks to look at here. They might have been saving a good bit, and they are now into your 4th and 5th position.
You are right, Jack Clemens. We knew he was fast. He put the truck on the pole, served an EOL to begin this race, and has been slowly working his way forward from there. What does he have left in this truck with 25 laps remaining? Can he go from the back to the front and get it done here at Atlanta? we'll all be keeping close eyes on that. And that 26 truck, as you mentioned, Kyle Diaz, an excellent run, up 26 positions. He started 31st. He's got himself up here into the top 5. Looks like he saved some tire, and he's got plenty of speed in the truck. Both of these guys running down Chris Stamper for the 3rd position right now.
Yeah, I really like what I'm seeing out of the 2 there. He has taken a typical old school Atlanta cruise around here, going down to the bottom each turn. Looks to be in pretty good control on corner exits on both ends. Really the line that I love to take when I'm going around here. It's very good on the long run. He is keeping pace with the leaders, especially if he can get past the 5.
Yeah, and I think he will make quick work of the 5. He can just get to his inside here and stay to his inside down the front straightaway. He should have an opportunity to get past him here in turns 1 and 2. Not quite there as they get to the entry of 1, but Jack Clemens and Kyle Diaz are making their way through the field. Do not worry, you're not missing anything up front, as Michael Reed and Clint Cox are pretty much stuck right there, about 0.2 of a second apart from each other. We will keep our eye here on the race for 3rd for the moment.
Yeah, and you have to wonder for Clint Cox and Michael Reed if they both looked in the rearview mirror and said, hey, we can drive away, make this a 2-man race, let everything cool down, and then duke it out at the end. Their lead is starting to grow here at least until the 2 and the 26 can get clear of the 5, as he proves to be a Kevin Orlando-like challenge.
You see, Jack was trying to run the bottom, couldn't get it done, decided to go to the top there and get himself a little bit of a run here down this back straightaway. Let's see if he can clear him now as they're side by side into turn 3. Kyle Diaz right behind them, trying to follow Jack through if he can. Jack not quite clear on corner exit, but he should be set up pretty well for turn 1 this time. I say that Kyle Diaz goes with the 5 of Chris Stamper, and now Jack at risk of losing a spot.
So far, this has worked out great for the 26. 5 goes down, takes the 2's lane away, causes some issues in his corner there. The 26 drives right on past the 2, sees if he can get past the 5 truck.
5 truck goes to the bottom, chases Kyle Diaz down there and makes sure he puts a little dirty air on that Fruity Pebbles machine. Seemed to work pretty well for him down here in turn 3 as he's just trying to hang on while he can. Meanwhile, Clint Cox is continuing to work on Michael Reed, still right there around that 0.2 of a second, but you know they're pulling away by about 1.5 tenths, 2 tenths every lap right now from this battle here for 3rd, as we are now 3 wide as we head into turn 3.
We're gonna send it in here, try to make it stick on these older tires. Looks like the 5's gonna lose both of those positions, and these 2, he's gonna pull it down the pit lane. I was about to say green flag pit stops have started. Maybe these guys can't make it 42 laps green. As we've seen Tyler Harrison, Kevin Orlando, and a bunch of those guys already start that pit cycle.
Yeah, and if you pit early here, that's going to pay big dividends. I'd like to see, looks like we about 2 seconds slower. Oh, that's going to hurt bad, and he's going to be too far to the left now. Now he's going to be, that might be a race killer for Michael Reed. We'll see how he comes off of pit road here, but that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, taking a page out of my playbook there, the last pit stop's the most crucial one. To drive past it, you know that hurts. It's Chris Stamper looking around him here on pit road.
Let's see where we all shake out here. Clint Cox should be the leader who at least is on this strategy, if you will, of pitting when they did. Here come some of those guys who have already got the tires warmed up. You got Kevin Orlando in the background there, Christopher Lowry. I'm not sure if he's pit yet. A lot going on, kind of hard to keep track of at the moment.
Yeah, we're looking at Grant Thorpe. Nick Alves is bringing it down right now. Mr. Likens and Lowry. Adams are the last 2 not to pit. I think Diaz is pitting as we speak.
And Grant Thorpe working his way through turns 1 and 2, and then you see the battle behind them, although that is 1 lap down. So if there were to be a caution at the moment, these guys would be trapped a lap down, but that will not last very long. Kyle Diaz comes out hitting 1 or 2 laps later here, but pretty close to Clint Cox. Kind of seems like this race is slowly coming to that 26 truck of Kyle Diaz. Is today his day?
Yeah, pit stops there. That was a big curveball. I didn't expect to see those, unless the fuel mileage is way different with the track conditions than it would have been before. Now, I am curious, Rob, if you look at the pylon and that P1
the 26 is going around in front of Kevin. Big, huge
wreck.
contact. Save it,
Oh,
Kevin, save it. I don't know if he saved it or not.
And if you look at your scoring loop there, we have a couple big winners.
Grant Thorpe keeps them pinned a lap down, or at least most of them a lap down. We will figure out how that all shakes out in just a moment. Let's see what happened. Kyle Diaz is down there on the apron. I'm not sure.
Very off pace.
Not sure why. We'll have to go back here and see if we can find any more information out about what happened to Kyle Diaz. You just don't ever see guys just go to the apron like that. It's very odd. Especially new tires. Just filled it full of fuel. Maybe he just got loose, and
Strange.
that is very
That's
strange.
the only thing I could think of is him feeling something right there in the truck he didn't like.
Takes
backing
Al
up.
Likens with him.
Kevin did save it. Look at that.
Good job, Kevin.
Well done.
All right. Let's figure out where we're at here now. Grant Thorpe bringing it down pit road. Looks like
Yeah, our
Clint.
race date has changed.
Absolutely. This is going to be big. Does Clint Cox, any of these other guys who pit, do they have any tires left? I guess would be my first question, because if not, I'm not sure how much that's going to shake things up outside of giving Grant Thorpe maybe the lead when we're done here.
Yeah, I do believe that Clint just got past Grant to get back in the lead lap. They should all have one more set left, I believe, all of them. As long as they did not take tires at the stage and then pit again at the stage, or pit there in lap 15 and then took a set at the stage. That's the only way they'd be out, I believe. Yeah, Clint Cox, I don't know if the 25 got good timing on that caution when it was thrown, if he was coming off pit road and would assume the lead. We'll have to figure that out here momentarily. But Clint Cox was back on the lead lap, so he will line up either first or second here, pending on that 25.
We're going to take this opportunity to get our last ad break in of the evening. We'll be right back here on the Revo Racing Network.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Welcome back to the Coastal Financial Truck Series here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You are watching the Revo Racing Network, and you just saw the choose cone here, as we've had an interesting shakeup up front after the latest caution. Dustin Adams is now your control truck. He will be starting on the inside. We have not seen the control truck restart on the inside in quite a while, so this could be interesting to see how that works out. We have Clint Cox to his outside in the 03. I believe Clint Cox, I'm hearing, is out of tires. He's put his final set on that truck. I think the same is true for Michael Reed. However, we've seen him fall down to the 8th position here through the pit stop. Caleb, who's your pick from here on out, coming to 11 to go.
Man, we've watched a lot of our players either self-destruct or get caught with some bad timing there. You got to go with the 03. Been the guy, at least in the top 3 most of the day, and a lot of the guys he's ran around are no longer in play here.
I think that's a good choice. We'll see if Grant Thorpe can get something done. He does have newer tires than the rest of these guys up front. The green flag is out. Adams gets a... No, he's struggling to get the power down. Clint Cox is going to power by on the outside. Grant Thorpe looks to the inside to clear the 25 before they get to turn 1. He does, and now he will be the first one in pursuit of the 03 of Clint Cox as they head off of turn 2 down the long back straightaway.
You know, I was wondering how the 25 assumed the lead as he gets real loose there on corner exit. He might just not have taken tires. Trap those guys a lap down as the caution comes out here. Oh, big one.
Now, lots of cars involved here. Kevin Orlando's in it. Michael Reed is in it. And you'd have to think that probably Chris Stamper in it as well. This is everyone who was left, basically, here in this accident.
Yeah, that's Chris Stamper ran well all day. Ill-timed caution. The day's done. Michael Reed was in the driver's seat there towards the end. Misses the pit stall. And it spiraled down to this.
Oh, they all... Oh, wow. Actually, I thought maybe it was Adams. It all started with him, but it turns out that is not the case at all. Looks like there's a big-time disagreement over space heading down the back straightaway here. Might be hard to unpack this one, Caleb. This could be a fun one. What do you see here? Adams loose.
Yeah, we got 3 wide right behind. It looks like a couple... Might have been a chain reaction if you want to go back there. I saw Kevin Orlando make contact with someone to his inside while they were 3 wide. Looks like there was a little bit of movement there, and then they wrecked right in front of him. As we'll see the 27 get loose, and then the 2 cars in front of him there. Looks like Eddie Donahue and Tyler Harrison also had a little incident.
See Michael Reed trying to get his positions back here. A little aggressive bump in the rear end of the 21 kind of kicked off that part of the wreck, but I'm not sure you can say there was only one wreck happening here. It's a huge hit for the 61.
A lot of things going on at once. The 91 probably a little frustrated with the way this has unfolded for him. Takes his momentum. Push wasn't the squarest we've seen, and mayhem breaks out.
And speaking of that push here, let's take a quick ride along on this restart with the 91 of Michael Reed and see what this looks like on board this truck here. Pushing hard on Kevin Orlando as they get to turn 1. Obviously, you see he has a long ways to make up to get back to the front, trying to make it all happen as quickly as possible here. Hung out 3 wide on the top.
Yeah, just not square.
There's DeLong for the ride here at this point.
Multiple engines go there. Day ender for a lot of guys in this field. But Rob, you look at that a couple different ways. The 21, maybe he expected him to be, pinning it to the wall to where that push would be square, and then he comes off of it a little bit, and that happens. Or you look at it as the 91, it's go time.
Yeah, I mean, really hard to blame anyone there. It's inside 10 laps to go at Atlanta. It's time to go and win this race. And if you're Michael Reed there, you feel like you're going to have to be aggressive to do it. And this time it comes back around to bite him, and his day will be done, unfortunately, after that one. Actually, maybe his day isn't quite done. It looks like he is still out on the racetrack with so many cars a lap down. He might salvage a decent day as long as the engine's still running in that thing. He's currently in 9th on the leaderboard.
Yeah, it looks like we've had our mix of incidents. It appears, every 15 laps or so, maybe 2 or 3 guys, maybe a couple in isolation. That one right there wiped out a lot of the field. It's going to be thinned out, and Clint Cox is a big fan of that one, especially if he doesn't have any tires left.
Let's take a quick chat here with the second place driver, Grant Thorpe. Grant, do you have us?
I got you.
Grant, we've kind of seen this race come to you here with the way that all of the pit strategy worked out. You have fresher tires in this 03. with that tire advantage, do you think you have a chance to go out here and take this win?
We're certainly gonna give it our best shot. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to. I was gonna try to save fuel to stretch it. Didn't work out, so now I was just trying to stretch it and have the fresh tires at the end, and hope maybe get lucky and get that caution. So, I got it. We'll see if it pays off.
It looks like it's going to work out for you, Grant. We'll get you back in with your team here since we're going green. Good luck.
Got it. Appreciate you guys.
That was our second place driver of Grant Thorpe. We'll be starting to the inside here of Clint Cox, who will be the control car on the outside in that 03 machine. This is it. We're going to have 6 laps to go. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, as we're going green here, I can't help but notice that 24 truck riddled back in points in 27th without accounting for drops. We'll see how bad he wants it here.
That is Nick Alves he's referring to there. We'll see if Nick has anything for him here. Maybe it's time to get up on the wheel and get aggressive if you're Nick Alves and try to make something happen. As we enter the restart zone, Clint Cox goes pretty early in the zone. Looks like it's going to work out pretty well for him. Al Likens is going to follow him through here. Side by side for second for the moment. Grant Thorpe's going to need to make quick work of this 40 truck if he's going to want to have an opportunity to take this battle to Clint Cox, and he does get clear as they exit turn 2.
Yeah, we've seen that 40 truck in an accident or two. Can't help but wonder how healthy that truck is. As Grant gets back around him, gives Grant a clear track ahead to do what he can do.
As they are all over the place back here. Contact.
Yeah,
that's going to hurt
they
there.
have it saved and they don't. They might stay green here with how that works out.
No caution. We're going to make our way back to the front here as Grant Thorpe is right on the tailgate of the 03 of Clint Cox. But getting to him is one thing and passing him is another. Caleb, how do you want to set up the pass here if you're Grant Thorpe? Where do you want to get him? Where do you want to be?
Right here, it's tough for Grant because he hasn't raced up front most of this race. He doesn't know how the 03 has driven situations like this, but he does have the tire advantage. He's going to go with the strategy of putting this thing on the bottom and doing it the old-fashioned way. I don't know if it's going to work. If I'm Grant, I am building up a run on that high lane, and as soon as I can get to his bumper on corner exit, we are sending it down, and we're going to hope it sticks in the next one.
That seems to be his strategy here. He does go to the top. He does get the run. He has a nice run down the back straightaway, not quite as close as he'd like to be. And it looks like he's going to take the outside again here and try to build that run again. Really high up the racetrack now, but it seems to be working out for him. He's there. He has the opportunity, but he knows with only 2 laps to go, he's going to have to make it happen now. I'm sorry, 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go. Yeah, we got a truck blowing up here. Maybe that 21 truck from earlier. He's going to get out of the way. We're going to keep it going. We got a 2-man race here to the finish, and I expect these guys to do it cleanly. And we'll see if this 77 can build up anything to pull it alongside the 03.
As we said, it is one thing to get to him, another thing to pass him. This might be his opportunity here. He's not quite to the inside of Clint Cox. Now he's going to look to the outside. As they go into turn 1, is he going to go to the bottom and try to dive him? Not quite. He's going to take it to the bottom, but not too aggressive on entry. Going to try to maximize that exit here. See if he can drag race Clint down the back straightaway. Not quite there for him. He's going to try again down here in 3.
He's trying to get to that quarter panel, try to get a little sidetrack. The 03 is going to respond by trying to take a little bit of airway. It's going to work out for the 03 as he flings that thing sideways. We got 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Clint Cox doing everything that he possibly can to hold off the hard charge from Grant Thorpe on the fresher tires. Grant's going to have one more opportunity to build the run out of turn 2. And he does have a little bit of positive momentum as they head down the back straightaway into turn 3. He's going to go to the bottom. Clint's going to try to cover him off, but Grant's going to beat him to the inside. Too much momentum on the top for the 03 of Clint Cox. He's going to hold on to it out of turn 4 and take the victory at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Well done by the 03 truck. Did everything he had to do. Took the preferred lane away, and the 77 just oh so close to getting there.
Yeah, and a great job by Grant Thorpe as well. Nice and clean all the way to the line there. And what ended up being a fantastic finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight. Clint Cox, probably the fastest truck here tonight. But, man, he had to earn it, Caleb.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing, we saw everybody around him with similar speed. They found themselves in trouble. maybe from overdriving the car, maybe from people around him overdriving the car. But the biggest thing at a track like this is taking care of your stuff, and he did one of the best jobs. He gets a little love tap there.
Not a dent on the truck until he got around to the front straightaway for a celebration. Al
Yeah, it looked
Likens joining him there. Al Likens brought it home third. A great run there for Al after some early contact.
Yeah, big time run there for Al. P19 in points. That's a big run. Might have been a little excited there, coming to get his photo taken of his podium finish.
Absolutely, and see if Clint Cox is going to burn it down. There he goes. That Bobcat Dairy Bar 03 Chevrolet.
He does a better burnout than I do.
Now you got to dial all that front brake bias into the car, Caleb. That's the trick here.
I don't win enough to know it.
Oh, well,
We'll learn.
we'll work on that. We'll work on that.
We'll learn, yeah.
All right, let's get a hold of our race winner here. Clint Cox brought it home and won here at Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight. Clint, it didn't come easy. You had to work really hard for this one. Ended up battling back through multiple different tire and fuel strategies in order to take care of this one with a hard charging Grant Thorpe behind you. What was your mentality there in the closing laps of this race to keep Grant behind you when he had fresher tires?
I just had to stay on the top and make him pass me on the bottom, and he was driving it in really, really deep, so I was having to too, and it was affecting both of us on exit. So that was about the only way. It was really hard in clean air or dirty air behind the guy to pass him on the bottom. You just couldn't hardly do it. So I just had to defend the top there and hope that it worked.
Did a great job all night, Clint. I am curious to know, especially with those guys racing so hard around you. The 91, the 22, the 5, they were around you all night. The 19 in there as well. When those guys are going as hard, it seemed like as hard as they possibly could, what percentage would you say you were running the whole night?
When I'm in front, I was trying to just keep them behind me. If they was pushing me too hard, then I would just try to protect the top and let them run side by side with me on the bottom. But when they're in front of me like that, and I figured out early on you couldn't pass them on the bottom on even stuff. You just couldn't do it unless you was the control car. So I just try to fall in behind whoever I could there and just try to let them, race their stuff out a little bit and pace them a little bit. Don't let them get too far, but within reach, and then try to run them back down. There was a bunch of cautions that was when I would start gaining back on them, the cautions would come out and kind of nullify it. But that last run, I was faster than the 91, but I just couldn't pass him on the bottom. So we came in the pits there side by side, and I think he had trouble in the pits. And then that caution happened, so I kind of hate that for him. He's going to have a good race, but it happens.
Yeah, very well done. It was a typical Atlanta race, I would say, especially at the end there. And you were the guy that was able to stay in control of your car. Congratulations, and you're going to extend that points lead.
All righty, thank you, man.
And Clint Cox, anybody that you'd like to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my 606 team, Chris, Al, Dustin, and Eddie. We all practice and stuff together for a few minutes at least before a race, and just you guys for doing the broadcast. We really appreciate you guys so we can go back and watch it and have people watch it live, and the guys that run the league, they do a good job with this league, so we appreciate all them guys.
All right, thank you, Clint Cox. Congratulations again on your win. We will hopefully see you back up front next week. That will do it for our interview with Clint Cox. We are going to take a quick commercial break to gather up our second and third place finishers of Grant Thorpe and Al Likens here at the Revo Racing Network, and we will be right back.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Welcome back to the Revo Racing Network. We just saw a fantastic finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway between Clint Cox and Grant Thorpe. We now have the second place driver, Grant Thorpe, with us here in the booth. Grant, you gave him everything that you had with that tire advantage. It seemed like it was really difficult to pass on the bottom. Did you really have anything else you could have tried there? Anything else that you would have wanted another opportunity at there?
Not without getting dirty. Not my way of doing things. If I'm gonna pass him, I want to do it clean. So, short of moving him, it was gonna be a tough guy to get around.
Grant, we saw you get a well-timed caution there. In one aspect, in the fact that you were able to pin a couple guys down a lap, come out, reset. But I am curious, the fuel calculator, how close would you have been to making it had that go green?
Oh, I wasn't anywhere close. Had I started saving from the drop of the green on that long run, maybe, but I honestly couldn't tell you.
It was quite fitting that when we went to Bristol, you were on the other end of that, being the leader. Clint Cox chasing you down. You held
Yeah.
off. This time, it was vice versa. You chasing him. Round 3. We might have it in store. Are you going to win that one?
Hope so.
That's the answer we always like to see. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
I'd like to thank you guys for hopping up in the booth. Always appreciate you guys. And then just the rest of the admin team for always everything they do week in and week out to help keep this league going.
Appreciate that, Grant. Well done. Great run. Didn't call your name at certain parts of that race, and that's usually a good sign at Atlanta. It means you're taking care of your stuff. Great run.
Appreciate it, guys.
That was Grant Thorpe, your second place finisher. Now let's go ahead and move on to our third place finisher here, Al Likens. Al, up 7 positions on the day. Started 10th. Kind of seemed like you ran around that position most of the day. And then here we are. We open our eyes after a great finish and look to third. And here's Al Likens. He managed to put himself on the podium. What was the story of your day, and how did you end up at the front at the end?
It started out pretty good, then I've gotten a little bit of damage at the beginning of the race, so I just rode. Then I had some penalties on pit road, then just rode in the back and conserved, then got a really lucky caution.
Yeah, that caution seemed to benefit you in the 77 a ton. I am curious to know, we saw you get some unfortunate contact there. Might have been a little bit damaged. How hurt were you at the end?
Yeah, the damage did affect it at the end. I couldn't really make the run to the leader, so I just kind of try to maintain third position.
Yeah, anytime we come here, you get a little bit of damage, you definitely don't expect to finish in P3. So hats off to you. You ran a great race all the way through to get back to that spot. Anybody you'd like to thank on your way out?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate my teammate Clint Cox on the win and all the other teammates at Team 606. And thank y'all for hosting the league. And that's about it.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. Great run.
Thank you very much, Al. That'll do it for our interviews here tonight. the Revo Racing Network. A fantastic race out of the Coastal Financial Truck Series here tonight. Let's take a look at our final rundown here. Winning the race tonight, Clint Cox, Grant Thorpe, obviously second, Al Likens third. We already spoke to all of them. Bringing it home fourth after starting in the back, Jack Clemens never quite had an opportunity to race it out with those guys, but a great recovery after how his race started. Nick Alves brings it home fifth, a really good finish for Nick. It's a shame he wasn't able to finish in his typical sixth position, but I'm sure he'll be happy with fifth. Christopher Lowry brings it home sixth. Tyler Harrison seventh. Michael Reed eighth. Dustin Adams ninth. Dominic Hughes 10th. And we'll allow the viewers to go ahead and read the rest here. Caleb, what are your finishing thoughts here on our race tonight?
You know, that's just about everything I expect out of that racetrack. It's a shame it's no longer in its current format. We saw a long run there for a little bit. Saw some 15, 20 lap runs. Saw some short runs. It was a battle of who had the longevity, who was mistake free, and a little bit of who's in the right place at the right time, mixed with strategy. That's what you want to see in a race. I'm glad we had two guys be able to go out there, give it all they had in their bag. And how many old school Atlanta races do you have coming to the checkers? Two guys, can they get the run on the top side? Grant was a little bit short, but I thought it was a fantastic race. And the 03 was the best guy today.
I agree. It really was a fantastic race out of the Coastal Financial Truck Series today. We do want to give one more shout out here to KSX Racing Graphics for sponsoring the race today. You can check out KSX Racing Graphics. Make sure you get that X on there on graphics. You can check them out on pretty much any social media. I know that they are all over the place there, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding them. Caleb, next week we move on to the Nashville Super Speedway for race 8 of the season here. Do you think we're going to see more of the same?
That's a racetrack that usually breeds pretty good racing. Somewhat similar to here at Atlanta. Tires go. It's all about who can manage, keep their truck clean. Last year we saw Michael Reed take that race home. He was unbelievably quick all the way through. Or actually, excuse me, I believe he might have finished second at the last second. But he was the car to beat, or the truck. Excuse me, Rob, pulling a U. He was the truck to beat for probably 130 laps. It's going to be a good one. We're going to see if anybody can go up there and challenge him. And we will see y'all next Monday night.
All right, that'll do it for us here at the Revo Racing Network. Thank you for joining us tonight for what was probably the best race that we've seen so far out of this truck series. If you want to see more great racing action, tune in next Monday night. We will be there for the race in Nashville Super Speedway. For myself and Caleb Gilbert, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. We will see you next week.